All right, so today we are going to learn how exactly to draw arms. Yes, we're going to learn how to draw arms today. I'm going to break it down. No, not like that. Okay, so first we're going to start off with the right arm from the front view. So let's just go ahead and isolate that. Okay, so here's what we have. And this is going to be our box that basically just represents the space that the right arm will take up. So with this box, you'll notice that the shoulder comes almost halfway. Most people, they draw the shoulder as excuse me, as a circle, right? But that's not enough. That's not enough because the shoulder comes all the way down here. It's more like a stretched kind of circle, sort of. But point is, it's a lot bigger than people make it usually. We'll usually just draw a little circle and then that's it. But the shoulders are basically half of the upper arm. So you want to keep that in mind. And also the shoulders, you'll notice that they bend. They bend like so. They don't just come straight down. So I want you to really notice the negative space. Just like in the leg video, I want you to notice the negative space that is left as a result of the limb or whatever it is that we're drawing. So it's pretty straight at the top. It curves off like that and comes in. Over here is usually pretty straight. And then there's a curve for the tricep as well. And in here, so notice first how here the bicep is in between. We can see the bicep and then some of the tricep. Many people, they don't show that. If the arm is like, if your wrist is, how do you say that? If it's like front to back, like, okay, so if let me take this off, right. So this is our wrist. If it's facing us like that, or anything like that, then we'll be able to see the tricep. And this will be the tricep. There's actually a very slight inward curve here, but because this is pixel art, I'm not able to convey that yet. So we're gonna simplify that and just make it a straight line. But there's like a slight bend right around there. Like there. Yeah. It's super subtle though, but it's there. It's there. But this is to simplify it. So that's what that is, and you can see the bicep. And many people get the bicep wrong because they make it like bloated. So many people, they'll make the bicep like that, something like that. Like they'll compress it. And the thing is, the bicep does bunch up like that, but only when it's flexed. Only when it's flexed. If the arms are straight, then it stretches out and it's a long shape, like so. But it gets covered by the shoulder up here, so that's why you don't see that bicep right there, but you see it down here. But of course, some people are more lean and you might be able to see it on them. But for this particular image, no, we don't see that. So that's that. And now we should also move on to the rhythms. So that's your apex line. The shoulder comes out like so and comes down like that. And then the tricep is more in towards the shoulder. It's not at the same Y level as the shoulder. And then it comes in like so. So it doesn't come out like that. But yeah, at least not for this arm. So we'll move on to the forearm now. So basically, let's see how we want to do this. I should have thought this through. I just need white. Where is white? Fill. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so here is our forearm. And if anything, let me erase some of that. Right. So our forearm connects, and the shape for it will be this red one. Right, and the forearm is actually about the same length as the upper arm. It's just a little longer. So if you want to know like how long it is, or if you're drawing and you don't want to use guidelines or actually measure it out, just eyeball it. It's about the same length as the shoulder plus the bicep, and then a little more. Just a little more. So that's what that is. So let's show that back up there. That's the forearm. You can't really see the forearm if I don't add shadow. So yeah, that'll be it. So the bicep comes here, and now I want you to notice there are three main parts with the forearm that make it. Okay. Well, first off, I guess there are four. So thing number one is that you'll notice it comes in. So let me actually take out the covering. Right. So don't focus on the other arm. We're focusing on this arm right now. So this arm. That's what we're focusing on. So you'll notice that first off, the boxes of this, where is it? Right. So notice that the forearm, the box comes one in, as opposed to out here. That's a very good thing to notice, and it's very important to convey that, because that's just how forearms are. They come in from the shoulder. They're not the same length. They don't come all the way out here. Yeah, that looks kind of weird. But generally, this is all general advice, because bodies, they come in many different shapes and sizes, but generally speaking, the forearm comes in. It starts in. So it comes out. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, or I'm just going to go through all three. So there are three main things to keep in mind. So there's this curve that comes up here. And then on the inner part, which is basically just a long curve, the apex of it is over here about, more so like here. And then on the outer part again, there's an S curve. It indents, sort of. Yeah. And it's like so. So you have that. And you have that. And notice that they're not aligned with each other. And obviously you get smaller towards the wrist, and then you get your hand. So if I do the rhythm lines for this, would be like so. And then, where's the points? There you go. Let me actually, I think I should just erase this as I go. Yes, so this is the right front arm. And those are your rhythms. Go like so, so. Let me make it a little bigger so you can see. Okay, too big. Yeah. See how it's following that zigzag, just like the legs? Same concept. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next part. So let's just erase. Little too much. Right. Okay, so this is going to be the right arm from the inner side. So we're looking through. Okay, so the box for this, it's the same as the box over here. This box is essentially the same. We are going to look at the comparison now. So the bicep and the shoulder wraps around the bicep, and now we're not even seeing, you see how over here you're able to see this tricep? Well, we can't anymore because the arm is facing that way. So this part right here is actually behind, like we'd have to see x-ray vision and it would be somewhere there. But this is this right here that we're seeing is this part. Yes, that's what that is. And again, you'll notice this angle actually conveys my point even further, that the bicep, when in a relaxed position like this, it doesn't come out like that. It's stretched. It's stretched because that's what it does when the arm is stretched. The bicep stretches it, and if anything, what bunches up is the tricep. If the tricep is more developed, it could easily be something like that. If you have a really developed tricep. I didn't draw it super developed, but yeah, that 100% that could be a tricep. So you'll notice that. Again, we have slight curve over here. Talked about that. And it comes in, it comes out and then in. The tricep comes out and then it comes in, like so. That's pretty much it. Oh, the elbow. See, it's a little difficult to try to show you these in isolation, like just upper arm and just lower arm, because it all connects. And it's like a puzzle piece. If I'm trying to explain the puzzle piece to you, it would only make sense in the context of the entire puzzle. But I want to simplify it. But yeah, so here I'll just go on to show the lower arm just a little bit. So you'll see this elbow right here, this elbow right here is below the bicep. That's below. So that's a very important thing to note. And the bicep, this right here is just the bicep inserting itself into that little crevice, that little crater in your forearm. Like this right here is the same thing as this right here. The same. It's inserting itself. Okay. And now we will move on to the rest of the arm. So here, don't mind this thumb. This thumb was crazy. It's hard to draw a thumb from so far away in pixels, but we're not drawing. This isn't a hand tutorial. This is an arm tutorial. So we're focusing on the whole arm. So the box for the forearm, let's get rid of that, is like so. So again, we're noticing that this box, let me take away the fill. Noticing that this box is smaller and comes in than this box, which means that the forearm comes in more than the upper arm. So we'll put that back there. And let's get, okay, so let's just go over the basic form. So over here, we'll notice that there is that, if you watch the leg video, which you definitely should, if you watch the leg video, you'll notice that there is this parabola curve, this exponential curve, where it's like it curves a lot towards the bottom and then slightly towards the top, depending on how you're looking at it. That shows itself in the upper leg as well, and it shows itself on other parts of the body, and it shows itself on this part of the body. So for the forearm, for the inner side, it's a long stretch. The same way it's a long stretch here. It's a longer stretch from this part. And then over here, it comes out just a little bit, because again, this part comes out just a little bit, and then it curves in. Same way this part curves in. See that? And again, the high point is over here, and then the apex is over here of this stretch, and then the curving in. Bam, bam, bam. You see it? Do you see it? And that's the arm right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those rhythm lines. That's the tricep. The highest point of the tricep goes there. And then the highest point of the bicep, the relatively highest point of the bicep goes there. That's the elbow. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, it should be, whoops. Yeah, so this was the highest point of that. Then we have that. Part of the inner forearm, and then for that indent of the outer forearm again. So you see these zigzags, you want to keep them in mind when you're drawing. And those are the points. Well, you get the point now, but yeah, it's just that. Okay. Moving on. Let's get our eraser. This is the left. Oh, the left arm from the back view. Okay. Okay. There we go. So let's turn that off. I said turn it off. There you go. So this is the left arm from the back. This big old thing that we're looking at is our tricep. Again, notice the shape. Let me get my pen. All right. So there's a slight curve over there. And then this part is the same as this part. And you'll notice that the tricep takes up most of the arm. Tricep is actually the biggest part of the arm because it has 3 muscles. It's the tricep. It's bigger than the bicep actually. So if you want bigger arms, and if you could only work one muscle, work your tricep, because your tricep has more real estate. But yeah, and then notice how the tricep again on this side comes in. It comes in. compared to the shoulder. And the same thing over here. See how the tricep comes inward compared to the shoulder? The shoulder, it ends here, or it starts here. The tricep is here. You see that? Do you see? Same thing. Shoulder comes out here. Okay, let me just get the line to out here. Tricep comes out here. Well, in here. And then that's just same thing, but there goes that bump for the outer forearm again. That same bump, that's over here and over here. And again, the inner tricep is relatively straight. So again, you see the inner tricep relatively straight over here. It's relatively straight over here. And I mean, from this angle, you can see it jutting out. But over here, it's pretty straight. And then it curves in ever so slightly over here. So that's what that is. If you want to see and the high point of the tricep on the outside, again, is over here. And then the outer point, I guess the part that juts out the most on the inner tricep is over there. So again, they are not aligned. If you did that, if you're making a tricep and you did that, and that, and that would be incorrect. Comes over here. And then the highest point goes over there. Or the part that juts out goes over there. So let me add these rhythm lines so you can see. See, that's what I was talking about. Highest point over here. And the part that juts out over there. Sorry, the point that juts out over there, and the point that juts out is over there. And it keeps going. Okay. I'll go ahead and turn that on. See it? You see it? Great. Okay. Moving on to the lower arm now. Let's get this eraser. Okay. So again, you'll notice that for the overall framing of the lower arm, the box for it comes in comes in more compared to the upper arm. That's very important. Very important. It came in over here by one. Came in over here by some. And it came in over here by one. Now, obviously, there's no actual metric that you can measure to know exactly how much it comes in, but this is just the general gist or general guide that you want to keep in mind when you're drawing these, when you're drawing arms. It comes in. The lower forearm comes in, the forearm comes in. Okay. And now if we want to take note of that shape again, we'll see that over here, well, it's relatively straight here, but then it has that curve again, that long curve, the same long curve that it had over here and over here, generally the same. No, this is the back, so yeah. So this side is what we're seeing, just the back side of that. And then look, you see that bump again? See that bump again? That's the same bump that we saw over here. And that same bump that we saw over here. And then this right here is a little indent. The same indent that's over here, and the same indent that's over here. Okay. And yeah, so the elbow would be right there. Not really sure why I didn't draw it, but yeah, that would be the elbow. Let me go ahead. So yeah, I went over the curves already, and now we would just go over the rhythm lines. As you know, the bump is over here, the apex of the curve is here, and then the indent is there. And always try to make it offset, even if you accidentally draw it like on the same level, just try to shift it. Do your best to shift it. Right, so the higher, I'm over here going back to the upper arm. But yeah, sure, I can reiterate it. So the part that juts out the most for the tricep, the outer tricep, is higher here, and then it leads down over here to the inner part of the tricep, and then the part that juts out the most for the forearm is over here, goes down there, and then we have that little indent. All right, so we are moving on to the final arm. Let's see. Move it. So what layer am I on? Okay. All right, so this is the left arm from the outer position. Yeah. Okay, so we will notice that the upper arm, or the shoulder, again, that shoulder takes up dang near half of the length of the upper arm. So make sure you keep that in mind. For me, for the longest time, again, I kept drawing my shoulders so small because I kept looking at those mannequins that were saying, oh, you gotta keep your shoulders as circles, and that's what helps you draw them. But it's not circles. Those circles are stretched out, and they're more like diamonds / pentagon / it's shoulders. It's shoulders. Shoulders are not circles. So I understand where people come from with the simplification of that, and even I myself try to do that, but it's so hard to simplify the body because the body is the shapes. It's completely different. It's like a modified circle, if anything. But if it's so modified from a circle, then why would I even draw the circle to begin with? Why not just draw the thing, right? So let's just draw the thing, or at least that's what I'm doing. Do whatever works for you. This is just a guide on how anatomy tends to look generally. Okay, so this is the left outer arm. So this is from the profile view. So just to give you a better image of the entire arm, that's what it is. We're looking at the side of someone. And you'll notice that, again, this bicep, it's not flexed like so. No. It's stretched because that's what it is. If anything, the tricep in this position would come out like that. That's just a little bit of a more developed tricep. But the tricep, if the arm is just stretched out, the tricep is what gets bunched up, and then the bicep is stretched. And you can see this little indentation as well because it's inserting itself into that crevice or that crater that's in the middle of your arm on the opposite side of your elbow. Yeah. So that's what that is. Again, this is generally straight. It's a slight curve, but again, because it's pixel art, you can't really see. I can't really do that. But it's the purpose of this is to simplify. So that's what that is. The shoulder does come forward a little bit, as opposed to just coming straight down like a curve. And it comes forward and then down. Okay, so that's what that is. And if you want to see the rhythm lines, we went over this already, but yeah, so the shoulder, the tricep, the highest point, or the point that juts out the most is there, and the point that juts out the most for the bicep is over here. But then again, it's relatively on the same level. But you see the general rhythm. So yeah, that's what that is. And now we'll move on to the forearm in this position. So I can actually just get rid of that altogether. And all right, here we are. So again, we have those 3 points, 3 important parts of the forearm. We have the bump of the outer forearm, the long bend of the inner forearm, and then the indent of the upper outer forearm. So all the bumps, see a bump here, over here, the bump is here, over here, the bump is here, and over here, that bump is here. Do you see it? Do you see it? I hope you see it. It's there. Okay, and then you have the long bend, and then you have the long curve, long stretched out curve right there, right there, right there, and right there. That's what this right here is. Yeah, so because of the nature of this bump and this indent, we actually have an S curve for the forearm. So yes, if you want to make things easier, you can just remember that on the outside over here, there is an S curve. I made it so subtle here, but I had to include that. I had to include that it comes in because it is in fact an S curve. Sometimes it's so freaking subtle that it's so hard to pick up, but if you know it's there, it's gonna show through that you know it's there versus you not knowing it's there. So that's what that is. The wrist, it comes like so. Yeah. And let's go ahead and turn on the rhythm line. Oh, I almost forgot. And notice that, where is it? It also comes in. So for all 4 of these, the forearm comes in over here. It comes in over here. It comes in over here. It comes in over here. And it comes in over here. You see it? It all comes in. That's the nature of the forearm. There we go. So I'll go ahead and put the rhythm lines. I said the rhythm lines, thank you. And then the rhythm points, right? So there's your bump. Yeah, there's your bump. There's the apex of the big old bend of the inner forearm. And then there's the indent. And then there you go. That's the arm. Every arm generally follows that. Some will be smoother. Let me take these away. Yeah, some will be smoother. Some will be like, so for this arm, if it was someone who wasn't as lean, it might just be like that. And they might not even necessarily have that much of a defined indent like that. But yeah, that's also an arm. This is also an arm. I drew a more defined arm so you can see it a little better, but again, every arm generally follows the same rule. Every body generally follows the same rule. It's just a matter of how slim they are, how muscularly defined or developed they are, how much fat they have on their body. It's all that, but they all follow these same rules or rhythms or shapes and things. So keep that in mind when you're drawing. And that is arms. Next up is either the head or the torso. The torso is going to be interesting because I myself am trying to conceptualize how to do that, because it's like the torso is like, it's so volatile, it's so versatile, because it's like two masses that are connected by another mass, and like two of them can move separately, and they stretch and twist and bend and all that stuff, and I'll work on it. But yeah, this is arms. So hopefully this was able to help you in some sort of way, shape, or form, and help you to draw arms a little better. All right. Thanks for watching.